Ready? Can everybody hear me back there? Okay, I think we're good. My name is Hedayatnia. I'm the founder of a company called Airfoil. We're a product design agency that basically works with a lot of companies across the Web3 industry. So it ranges from Bonfire, Solana Labs, Bonfida, Drift, Layer 3, Utopia Labs, the works. I also wanted to throw this up. There's going to be a Q&A at the end of the presentation. We're going to hope to get a few minutes there to answer your questions. So there'll be a Q&A moderated by the team here, but we also have this link up. And so if you want to ask us anything also after the presentation, that's a great way to reach us over there, airfoil.link/BUIDL22. But I want to talk a little bit about design today, because design is more than just making things pretty. It's about making things useful and making things usable. There's a YouTuber that I really love, and his name is PPP Peter. He's from Eastern Europe, and he loves traveling around the world and going to crazy places, like eating at the worst reviewed restaurant in the country of Moldova. But recently, he actually went to El Salvador. And the reason was because the Salvadoran government rolled out Bitcoin as legal tender, and then rolled out a mobile wallet called Chivo, so that everybody can go and use Bitcoin on a regular basis to make transactions. But when he was there, this was the actual experience on the ground. Is it possible to pay with Bitcoin here? I have Chivo, but I somehow closed my account and I don't know how to open it. So at the end of the day, he could only make like 2 or 3 different transactions. At the end, 2 weeks ago in Singapore, actually, I just took this photo. I was in the Raffles Hotel where they had an NFT collection and gallery, and you could buy the NFTs distributed. And they gave you an airdropped NFT for visiting, but this was the instruction manual on how to actually get the airdrop. And it involves emailing them your wallet address so they can send it to you directly. As long as these are the experiences that people have with crypto and Web3, it's going to be difficult to get the people on board that we need for this really to be the next evolution of the web. Because the core problem is that Web3 is designed for enthusiasts and not the masses. And we've gotten used to difficult user experiences in crypto, when in reality, we need to be making these experiences better. So today, I want to share basically a bunch of different tactics from my perspective as a designer that may help you with what you're building, may help you build experiences that are easier to use for everybody. First, I wanted to start with this. I don't know if anyone in this room will recognize this, but this actually comes from a TED Talk by a guy named Simon Sinek. It's called How Great Leaders Inspire Action. And the general idea is this. The way that technologists tend to talk about what they build is they start with the what, then the how, then the why. So in the example of Apple, a normal computer company would start by saying that we build a fast and light computer that's very easy to use. The how is we hire the best engineers, we hire the best designers to put it all together. And the why is to make your computing experience better. But Apple flips that. They say, we believe that computing should be easy. We believe that everyday tasks should be beautiful and simple. How we do it is we hire the best engineers and the best designers, and what we do is we build computers. Want to buy one? That is a big difference. And when we start from the inside out, when we start from the why and go to the what, it's so much more compelling. So with a lot of crypto websites today, right, a crypto wallet and gateway to blockchain apps. Discover, collect, and sell NFTs. These are actually really good headlines in the way that they're very simple, but they talk about what they do. So in other words, to somebody who already knows they want an NFT, this landing page works. But to somebody who doesn't know what an NFT is, it doesn't actually convince them that they should continue to give you their time. And this is really the core point here, which is that what we're really trying to do with landing pages is we're trying to convince users, say, please give me 5 minutes of your time, and let me explain to you why this is something you should care about. And so if we tell them what we do, that doesn't necessarily convince them that they want to give us that time. But if they tell us, if we strike at a real problem that they face, then they want to give us that time. This was a website that we actually made. This is for a company called Bonfire. And we lead with build a home for your community. So later on, we explain the what. We explain how Bonfire works and all of that. But we lead with something that we know users will care about, which is build a home for your community, a single place where people can come together. Mango Markets also does a great job of this. Long and short, everything. Lightning fast, near zero fees, permissionless. but it's meant to give you kind of that feeling of like, that's what makes Mango different, is you don't need to use a bunch of different platforms, you can use one. The second tip that I want to give is basically mind your user's health bar. So the basic idea is if anybody's ever played a fighting game on a console before, you know that of the more that you get struck, right, the more your health bar goes down. As users continue through a difficult onboarding process, that health bar is going down. And so one thing we can do is, of course, shorten onboarding, but another thing we can do is give the user rewards for sticking through the process. Glow does a really good job of this. When you open the Glow wallet on Solana, you see this beautiful illustration on the first screen. Then you see, and unfortunately it's not animated, but basically you see a wallet that falls through space and time and then gradually fills up as your wallet is created, your key is verified, everything's backed up to iCloud. It then provides you context. It explains, welcome to your new wallet. It's stored in your iCloud account, so if you delete the app and reinstall it, you'll still have access to your wallet, and then you're finally presented with a welcome screen. Now, they could have just skipped from the first screen to the fourth screen. When you click Create New Wallet, it could have just thrown you over here. But giving them those moments of excitement and delight where you educate them about what you're about to do, why it should be exciting for them, get them amped up for what's about to come next, those moments are really important to keep people going through the process and make sure their health bar is as high as possible when they get to the end of it. This is our drift protocol, which we also designed. And it's important, for example, rather than providing no context to users, to use things like this pop-up up here to show users that a trade is being confirmed. Something is happening. Just stay in there. Hold in there. It's those little moments of supporting and hand-holding the user that help keep the user engaged and prevent them from churning. The next tip would be guide the user through rough journeys. Sometimes interfaces aren't enough. So one thing that I think we probably are all very used to in Web3 is you go to sign into a website and all of a sudden you get a signature request and your MetaMask wallet or your Phantom wallet or Glow, whatever it happens to be, pops up and you have to sign. Now there's two reasons I think this is a big problem. The first reason is people get used to just signing everything. And as we've maybe heard this week with some issues with wallet security, it's a big deal when people are so used to signing things that they don't know what it is that they're actually signing. But the second reason is for new users, seeing a scene like this is scary. And so this is the point where they drop off and say, maybe this Web3 thing isn't for me. Well, the funny thing is the solution to this problem we did years ago in older versions of iOS. This is a screenshot of an iPhone 8, where this app says, use address book. Inviting friends is simple when choosing them from the address book on your phone. Otherwise, you'll have to type contact info individually. And then it presents the scary cluster would like to access your contacts screen. But here's the point. This goes back to what I was saying about the health bar. Instead of positioning this screen as something that would knock the health bar down, because it's a scary dialogue where they have to provide information, and that being another point of friction for the user, this app is basically saying, hey, this next screen that's going to come up is actually going to help you. Because if you say, OK, we're going to preload your context so you don't have to do the extra work of typing your contact info, that means that when you get to the next screen, you say, oh, nice. I'm glad the screen is here, not I'm scared the screen is here. And that leads me to the next point, though, which is that your users shouldn't need a map. So a lot of us have probably used Curve Finance before. I like the old Windows 3.1 aesthetic. I kind of enjoy it as a designer. But it's really hard to use. It requires people to use a documentation. And a lot of Web3 apps today are like this. Instead of ending up at a landing page that explains what the product is, you end up at the app itself without any context on how to actually use the app or what that's actually going to do. And in general, when we're designing interfaces, nobody should click a button without knowing what's going to come next. The results of ending up directly on the application and then being presented with a sort of do-it-yourself connect wallet flow is that people have to refer to YouTube videos and directly to documentation in order to begin using the products we're building. I know that connecting a wallet is faster than creating an account, and I love that we don't need to create new usernames and passwords anymore, but there's parts of that process of what your user immediately sees when they see your product that landing pages and onboarding flows actually help a lot with. They provide the user with context and information. So the misconception in Web3 is that the shorter the onboarding, the more effective the onboarding flow. But in reality, onboarding flows are balancing acts. They're not just to collect important information like username and passwords. Onboarding flows tell the user, once they sign up, what they can look forward to. A really great example of this is actually Mango Markets. So Mango Markets doesn't require a username and password, of course, because it's a decentralized exchange, but it still presents you with this screen once you onboard, which reminds you of what Mango does and why Mango brings value to you as a user. They didn't need to do this, to be clear. After you connect Wallet, they could just throw you directly into the trading platform. But providing users with steps like this, that's helpful to make sure that they don't end up in the product, but then without any clue how to actually use it. The next point, keep the user focused on one thing per page. So if we look at Saber's UI, for example, it focuses the user on the one thing they need to do, which is enter in the amount of USDC that they want to swap to USDT, and then presents them with information about, to use Saber, you need to connect this to a wallet afterwards. Coinbase does a great job of this. Can anybody guess which part of this interface Coinbase wants you to pay attention to as a new user? It's the big blue button up there that says buy and sell. Because if you're a brand new user and your account is completely zeroed out and you haven't purchased any crypto, then you can't use trade, pay, you can't use any of the other pieces of the interface. So they want to draw your attention to one thing in the corner. And once you're done doing that, then you can explore the rest. This is intentional. Having two blue buttons next to each other would ruin the focus. But having one that people are directed to means that once they get to the interface, they know what to do next. And this is another thing that if we think back to the Glow Wallet example earlier that I gave, they also did really, really well. At the very end of the onboarding flow, they're presented with a welcome screen that says, here's what you can do next. So as users are entering your product, they should always know, once they've signed up, once they've actually connected their wallet, okay, here's one thing that they can do next so that they feel supported. Rainbow also does a great job of this by pointing your focus to add cash, because you need to add cash in reality to be able to begin using a wallet well. And even here on the sending screen, right, it directs your attention to the button to send so that you're focused as well. So I want to give you an example of some of these principles in action. We recently redesigned the Bonfida name service, which is the way that people buy .sol domains on Solana. And if you notice, this is the old website. It says unique domains on Solana. It leads with the what. It says this is a place where you can get .sol domains. But it doesn't answer the question, why would I want one? And then you go and you search for domain names, you scroll through an auction list. You're presented with lots of options. But in reality, if you're buying a domain name, what you probably care about is, I want to give you the name I want, right? Okay, I know other people are buying domain names. I've seen them all over the internet. But how can I enter in the domain name I want to make a purchase? Then you're presented with this flow where you have to connect your wallet, and then you're asked what space you need. And at this point, anybody who's not a crypto expert has probably dropped off. So this was our version. Your humanized ID for the metaverse. Get your SOL domain that can be used to represent you from the metaverse. Start .sol searching. We went with kind of a pun there. And then, once you get to this page and you've selected the domain that you want, we remind you up here why get a SOL domain. Quickly send and receive funds to a human-readable address. Collect and exchange .sol names directly as NFTs. Host projects with your unique and exotic domain name. So we use this space over here that could have been blank to remind the user why they should continue with the process of getting a domain name so that they convert. We then have them place a bid, and then we have a success state that tells them, thank you. Thank you for going through this process. Congratulations, now you have your .sol domain. So these are some of the concepts that I brought up today, but I wanted to kind of close it with this. I'm a big believer in Web3 overall, as I'm sure everyone in this room is. But it's difficult to articulate proper use cases to people when it's so hard to get people onboarded with Web3 and crypto. I talk to founders all the time about kind of why these friction points still exist. I think that crypto has grown large enough that we've emulated each other, but we've forgotten about the people outside of our bubble. But if we take some of these principles in mind and we bring back a little bit of what we may have thrown out from Web 2, I think we'll be able to make the technologies provide value to users while also making them more accessible for everyone. So thanks so much. It's great to be here. Really appreciate it. We'll cross into Q&A. I can also be reached over there on Telegram and Twitter, and there on email. Thank you very much.